Hi everyone. Let's wait a few seconds, make sure it all works fine. All right, then we're all set. Welcome to a new session of the Wallbit Tech Fridays. So, thanks everyone who's joining us, watching this stream, following our journey. We appreciate it very much because we're working very hard and we love communicating what we're doing. So, I have a few items here that I wanted to share publicly today. Um, we're starting with the first one. Good news. We are experiencing a very, very rapid growth. In fact, in March, we grew 25%, more than 25% um, in a single month. So it was a huge growth in March only. And of course, this is not like unexpected. We were growing at a similar speed already, but with higher numbers, it's becoming more and more challenging, and we're not only maintaining the bar, but also exceeding expectations. So that's great. That's great, and we're very happy. In fact, we did some like celebrations internally about that. But now we're thinking of what's next, right? And how can we keep growing at the same speed rate? So the first thing we started analyzing is why is that happening? Like, why are we growing? Like, what of everything we're doing, what are the actions that are very tactically tackling the exact points for us to grow at this space. So one of the things that we discovered is that the last 2 months, like probably from the beginning of this year, we started like going deeper and deeper on the top ICPs that we have, right? As you know, as a classic neobank, you have multiple use cases, right? Multiple user personas. And that is good because like your product can be for anyone, basically. You can encounter anyone, meeting with friends or whatever, and I'm pretty sure you'll find a use case for Wellbit with that person. The thing is, at the same time, that is sometimes a bit distracting because when you're prioritizing like not only customer support but product development and all the different areas of the businesses, even like in growth, growth efforts, marketing actions, all of that. um, like having multiple segments might distract you from what's actually driving your growth. So I think early this year we said, all right, let's stop for a minute. Let's analyze all our volume, all our customers' activity here, and let's try to find within all our community of customers who are the ones who really love Wellbit and have built and are still building a very deep relationship between their financial lives and our product, right? So, we've been interviewing a lot of customers, trying to identify signals or insights. And we discovered that we have very clearly two main ICPs, right? The first one being, and the primarily today, is the remote worker. So is this professional, again, who lives in any country in the world, but primarily Latin America today because it's our first region, and is working somehow for a foreign company. It could be for a U.S. company as a contractor, could be a freelancer, but it's usually someone who needs some kind of international banking, right? So our relationship with this customer is very, very deep because we're solving like such a high pain point, right? Like it's how to like bring your money back. And although the market today might look crowded in some space, in some sense, and it looks like there are many options today to get paid and to withdraw those funds locally. The reality is that the main population of these remote workers are still using very outdated solutions or solutions that were not built for them, right? So Wallbit is definitely providing a lot of value to them, and they value that. They tell us that all the time. In our customer support channels, we receive a lot of good messages around that, and sometimes like from the perspective of someone who's in the fintech space, who's been in that space for years, and that knows pretty well all the different products and options out there. Probably you think like, oh, okay, thank you, but I mean, it was not much, right? But from the perspective of someone who just joined a company, right, that is experiencing all the emotions of working for a foreign company for the first time, not being able to get paid in the local banks, and plus all the other things that they are experiencing around transitioning to a new job, right? When Wellbit comes in and say, hey, I have an end-to-end solution for you, so don't worry, we got you. That's very valuable, and I think like these last few months we started like seeing that more in a more tangible way. So after all that research that we are continuously doing, of course, we said, all right, we need to go deeper on these ICPs, right? Like we have the remote worker, like I said, as the first one, and we need to be able to make their lives even better of what we're doing today, right? And yeah, I think we started doing so, and that means not only explaining a lot better what we do and how they can use our services, but also you can see that reflected on every product decision, right? Like every time we analyze a product feature or we need to prioritize something, we are using this filter or optics to understand if that provides value to our ICP, right? And that thing, as simple as it sounds, was actually very powerful, and we're seeing it reflected in the numbers. Because it's not only that these customers are happy and that are more engaged and therefore retained, but also their recommendation rate has been significantly increasing in the last 2 or 3 months. So I think that was a good move from our team. And then the second ICP we've identified is the retail investor, right? Again, this is not necessarily a remote worker, but a professional living in Latin America that wants access to the US stock market. Since Wallbit supports like on-ramping and depositing funds with local currencies in Latin America, this is a very easy use case actually, right? You can find anyone who has some kind of savings power in Latin America, and you can tell these people to start investing in the US, and that's actually very new, and the challenges there are different. Like we've seen that these customers, they are like, this is not an urgent need, which is interesting because it's like they do want to invest, but it's not as urgent as the remote worker who needs to get paid like tomorrow. And they have a lot more of questions. They it's like they are trying to double check, triple check all the time that Wellbit is the right place for them to invest. So so we started like talking to a lot of them. We started providing, in fact, like one-on-one conversations with one of our product team members or CX team members with this potential. It's not that potential investors that are they're already investing in Wellbit, but they have more savings and they could send that to Wellbit if they find like they check like one or two more things that they want to be sure about. So yeah, it's interesting, and I think the good thing of this profile is that they are considering Wallbit for the long term, right? This is also something particular about the use case. So they have more questions. The barriers to say, all right, yes, I'm going to invest my life savings in Wallbit are higher. Of course, those barriers are higher. However, if they transpass those barriers, they are here to stay, right? They're not thinking, all right, I'm gonna try like for a few weeks and then I'll see. They're not here for that. Um, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing because I think we can make some more efforts on trying to acquire and retain those customers, and the payoff is going to be good, right? Like the lifetime value of these customers today is very very high because they're here for the long term. So that's very good. So yeah, that's one of the main things. The first things I wanted to share, that we're experiencing a very rapid growth, and we're trying to understand why is that happening. We have like this hypothesis that I just shared, and we do want to do more of that, of course, because we want to keep growing this fast, right? All right. So what else we have here? Okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is about the product, right? So, like I said before, today the fintech space in emerging markets, and let's talk about Latin America, right? Because it's our primary region today. Um, the fintech space has been always very crowded in general in Latin America, and especially around neobanks, right? And something that we've seen is again, like all of them, uh, us included, we were trying to like capture all the different money flows in the space, right? We could do remittances, like we could do like family remittances, for example. Wallbit can do that, like our product supports that, and there are people doing that with Wallbit. But I think today, with everything that's going on around like AI and the commoditization of a lot of different features, right? Um, and with that, like the accessibility value being less valuable, right, was before. What we're doing is we're going deeper on the experience of our customers and our ICPs. What does that mean? What does that mean? Like, for example, like the remote worker, right? There are different like neobanks out there that they could use or choose to like to do what they have to do. But Wallbit, from a brand perspective and from a product perspective, is becoming like the bank that is built specifically for them. It's like the verticalization of fintech, right? Instead of looking at a neobank as a generic neobank with accounts, cards, investments, money movements, we're thinking Wellbit as the actual neobank for remote workers. And if you think about that, like the vertical neobank that doesn't care too much about the other use cases, um, all the experience, like from the very beginning, will be tailored to the remote worker, like literally at the point of, like, for example, helping you with the right limits, right? Instead of having like tier limits that are more like generic, right? We know that you're a remote worker. We're gonna verify that with your LinkedIn profile, talking with your employer or whatever, and you'll have very very good limit tiers, right? So you can move good money. So that's one of the things. The other thing is we're starting to give some kind of like tax, I don't want to say advice, but tax help in terms of collecting all your deposits, your withdrawals, and hopefully facilitate that information so you can report and file your taxes locally in Latin America. This is something for us. This is it's not a small thing, because like we launched Wallbit 2 years ago. In fact, that's something I should be celebrating here. Like it's 2 years since we launched Wallbit, and always around taxes, our response, if anyone comes to us and say, hey, but how can this help me with my taxes in Argentina, Mexico, whatever, right? We would always say, you should go talk with your accountant, your local accountant. That's our advice, right? And today, if we want to build like the actual neobank for remote workers, we shouldn't say that. Like we should actually help these people, and that's what we're doing. We started doing so. Like, hey, yeah, we got you. Typically in Mexico, the way you file your taxes is by doing this, this, and this. From Wallbit, you can export your, transaction activity with these filters and whatever. And of course, this area of the business is going to be evolving a lot. I think in the following weeks and months, especially from a product perspective, and the way the product is going to be positioned is not more like that you feel like it doesn't help you with that, but instead it's going to help you, and it's going to help you in a way that none like any other neobank will do, because we are the only ones that are built and tailored for you, for our ICP, right? So I think I'm very pumped and excited about this, because I'm talking about like taxes here only, but there are a lot of other areas of the lives of these professionals that we can be participating and providing solutions. So yeah, we'll see how that goes in terms of product and more like tangible features. But we're really really excited about this, because I think it's part of the reasons why we're maintaining our growth, I believe we have one of the highest retention rates in the market, because we are of course built for them, like I said. So yeah. All right, what else do we have here? Okay, let's talk about features, specific features that we've been launching. So one of the things we launched, I think I mentioned this in the last session that we were about to launch this. It's the cashback in the S&P 500 ETF. So every time you pay with QR code payments in Latin America, or you swipe your card in any merchant, could be either in a physical store or in an online store, you get cashback in this ETF. Um, what's the driver behind that, right? And why are we excited about this one? So this is so our customers can activate their investments account. So we're trying to um, help them get like their first exposure to the market, right? With the cashback. So this cashback is not like for them to get cash only, right? I mean, they're not gonna make a lot of money by just getting cashback. The thing is, we want them to experience and to feel how it is to be exposed to the market, right? And although these are small amounts, of course, you might collect, $20, $50, $100, 200 if you spend too much with your card. I think by the fact of just being exposed, you can start like feeling a lot of the things that are part of investing in the market, and we think that like moving these customers who are not investing closer to the profile of a customer who actively invests is going to be a very strategic move to convert them, like to convert a lot more of them, and therefore retain a lot of more of them, because like I always say, the customers who are building long-term portfolios in Wellbit are the ones who are here to stay, and the ones who are going to perceive all the value of the product we're going to be creating in the following weeks, months, and years. So so this is like a very strategic feature that we're launching, which has we launched it in beta, in fact, like around 10 days ago. So our customers, some of them are already using them and receiving the cashback, but a few, like majority of them, will be notified, and will see the announcement in our social media and in all our channels sometime next week, probably around Tuesday or Wednesday. So yeah, this is gonna be a good one, and hopefully by the next session I can come here with some more data about what happened and what was the impact of the launch. The other thing we're doing is optimizing account management capabilities. So again, like in this move of improving the experience of all our customers, we're trying to improve all our services in terms of customer support in the space. By the way, I don't know how familiar you are, whoever is listening, with the market and the neobanking space, but one of the things that's always very appreciated by our customers is the quality of our customer support, and that's because we have a lot of human support. So although we are huge fans of automatizations and scaling and all of that, we have like the right human interventions in the loop, so that support feels more authentic, more dedicated to you, right? And with that obsession in mind, where we want to decrease the amount of cases that we are receiving, we want to decrease the time to respond to all of them, and we've been identifying like the top cases, like bringing conversations, and a few of them were around like typical or classic 2FA password, security related topics, or probably changing your email, your phone number, and right now we went like beyond what's standard in a neobank, and started providing a lot more solutions around that, like treating that aspect of the product as a real thing, not something that is more like that is out there, and nobody cares about. We do care. We want to make that a lot more optimal for our customers. And one of the things we launched again is the capabilities to change your account information, and we'll change that in your card, in your account, in your investments account, everywhere. So there's no like manual processes involved, and therefore you can do it like pretty much instantly. So that sounds like a little bit more boring feature, but it's actually very powerful, and it's going to improve a lot of the operations we currently have. Then one more thing is Wallbit for businesses. We haven't launched the full version for businesses in the web application yet, but we do have like the global payroll product up and running. We have, in fact, like dozens of companies today using this product, paying contractors in Latin America mostly, except for a few in Europe, by the way. And yeah, the feedback has been great so far. We are it's funny because in fact we're developing relationships with these companies, and they're asking us for more things, right? So yeah, but we're trying to prioritize, again, going back to our ICPs, we're going to trying to prioritize accordingly. So all right, then, to close, like I always share, we're hiring. And we're hiring a compliance analyst today, based ideally in Argentina, because that's where we have our primary office today. And then we're also hiring a creative content creator to not relaunch, but keep building our brand, especially oriented to this remote workers segment, as I shared before. So if you are interested, if you know anyone in the space who might be happy to join us, please refer them to us. And I think that's it for today. Yeah, we're on time. So thank you everyone who joined us. We're trying to make this a lot more professional and more collaborative, but In the meantime, we just show up. We love showing up. We love being around, and it's gonna be like that for years. So yeah, get used to it. But yeah, thank you for joining, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.